People often believe that happiness, once it settles into a home, stays there forever. Jasmine used to believe the same thing. For years, her life was simple yet beautiful. She did not have great wealth, expensive jewelry, or a luxurious house. What she had was something far more valuable: a husband who respected her. His name was Joan. Joan was a quiet man with a gentle heart. He never spoke loudly, never humiliated Jasmine, and never allowed anyone to disrespect her. Their home was small, but it was filled with peace. Every evening they would sit together, share tea, and talk about their dreams. Although they had no children, Joan never complained. "Jasmine," he would often say with a smile, "God has already given me enough by giving me you." Those words always made her heart feel safe. For 4 years, Jasmine lived in that safety. Then one afternoon, everything changed. A terrible road accident took Joan's life. One moment he was alive, and the next he was gone forever. The news shattered Jasmine's world. At his funeral, she sat beside his grave, unable to believe what had happened. The man who had protected her from every storm was now beneath the earth. Days passed, but her grief remained fresh. Every corner of the house reminded her of Joan. His clothes still hung in the cupboard. His favorite cup remained untouched. His prayer mat still lay in the corner where he had last prayed. Jasmine thought her husband's family would support her during this difficult time. She was wrong. Only a few days after the burial, her brother-in-law entered her room. His face was cold. "Jasmine," he said, "you cannot stay here anymore." She looked at him in shock. "What do you mean? This house belongs to me now. Joan is gone. There is no reason for you to remain here." The words struck her like a knife. She could barely breathe. "I am still in my waiting period," she whispered. "Please allow me to stay until it is completed." But the man showed no sympathy. "My wife and children are uncomfortable. The house feels gloomy because of you. It is better if you leave." Jasmine stared at him. This was the same man who once called her his sister. Now he looked at her as though she were a burden. When he left the room, she broke down in tears. That night she prayed longer than ever before. "Why, God," as she cried, "after Joan, who do I have left?" No answer came. Only silence. The next morning, a servant knocked on her door. "Madam," she said nervously, "Sir has asked me to tell you that your room must be empty by this evening." Jasmine felt her heart sink. Even before her husband's grave had settled, she was being thrown out. She packed slowly. 2 dresses. A copy of the Quran. A framed photograph of Joan. Nothing else. By sunset, she stood at the doorstep for the last time. Tears filled her eyes as she looked back. She remembered the day she had entered that house as a bride. The laughter. The celebrations. The promises. Now all that remained were memories. With trembling hands, she picked up her small bundle and walked away. Dark clouds gathered above her. Within minutes, rain began to fall. The streets became muddy. Her clothes were soaked. Yet she kept walking. She had only one destination left. Her younger brother's house. Their parents had died years ago. After their deaths, her brother had been her closest family member. She told herself he would never abandon her. "He is my brother," as she whispered. "He will help me." After nearly an hour of walking through the rain, she finally reached his gate. Her heart pounded. For several minutes she stood there, unable to knock. Fear filled her mind. What if he refused? What if she was no longer welcome there either? Finally, gathering her courage, she rang the bell. Footsteps approached. The door opened. Her brother stood before her. For a moment he looked shocked. Then he noticed her wet clothes and tear-filled eyes. "Jasmine," he exclaimed. "What happened?" The moment she heard his voice, all her strength disappeared. She burst into tears. "They threw me out," she sobbed. "I have nowhere else to go." Her brother immediately stepped aside. "Come inside." For the first time that day, Jasmine felt a small spark of hope. Maybe everything wasn't lost. Maybe she still had family. Maybe she still had a place where she belonged. But as she stepped into the house, she didn't notice someone standing near the kitchen doorway. Someone watching her with obvious displeasure. Her brother's wife. And the look in her eyes made one thing painfully clear. Jasmine's troubles were far from over. That night, as Jasmine lay awake in a small guest room, she overheard a conversation that would change everything. The words spoken by her brother's wife would force her to realize that even blood relations can turn into strangers when life becomes difficult. And by sunrise, Jasmine would face another heartbreak she never saw coming. That night, Jasmine could not sleep. The small guest room felt unfamiliar, yet she was grateful to have a roof over her head. Outside, the rain continued to fall, tapping softly against the windows. She sat on the edge of the bed, holding Joan's photograph close to her chest. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Everything had happened so quickly. Just a few weeks ago, she had been a wife living peacefully with her husband. Now she was a widow with nowhere to belong. As midnight approached, voices from the next room drifted through the thin walls. At first, Jasmine tried not to listen. Then she heard her name. Her heart skipped a beat. "You can't be serious," her sister-in-law said sharply. "How long is she planning to stay here?" "She's going through a difficult time," her brother replied quietly. "She has nowhere else to go." "And is that our problem?" The words pierced Jasmine's heart. Her brother remained silent. The silence hurt even more. "People will talk," her sister-in-law continued. "A young widow living in our house? What will the neighbors say? We have children to think about. She's my sister. And I'm your wife." The room fell silent. Jasmine waited desperately for her brother to defend her. To remind his wife that she was family. To say something. Anything. But he said nothing. Tears rolled down her cheeks. For the first time, she realized that her brother was no longer the boy she had raised and protected. Marriage had changed him. Or perhaps life had. The next morning, her sister-in-law behaved politely in front of her, but the warmth was gone. Every smile seemed forced. Every word felt heavy. At breakfast, Jasmine quietly offered to help around the house. "I can cook, clean, or do laundry," as she said softly. Her sister-in-law forced a smile. "No need." But her tone suggested the exact opposite. Days passed. Jasmine spent most of her time alone in the guest room, reading Quran and praying. She tried to make herself invisible. She avoided conversations. She ate very little. She wanted no one to feel burdened because of her presence. Yet somehow, her existence alone seemed to irritate her sister-in-law. Every day brought a new complaint. The children were making too much noise because they were curious about their aunt. The guest room was occupied. Extra food was being consumed. Electricity bills would increase. The excuses never ended. Her brother noticed everything, but he never spoke. One evening, Jasmine gathered enough courage to approach her sister-in-law. "I only need a little more time," she said gently. "Once I find somewhere else to stay, I will leave." Her sister-in-law crossed her arms. "And where exactly will you go?" Jasmine lowered her eyes. She didn't know. The truth was terrifying. She had no plan, no savings, no family willing to help. Nothing. That night she cried herself to sleep. 2 days later, her worst fear became reality. Her sister-in-law entered the room early in the morning. There was no anger in her face, only cold determination. "Jasmine," she said, "you need to make other arrangements." The words hit harder than any insult. Jasmine stared at her. "What? You've stayed long enough." Tears instantly filled her eyes. "But where will I go?" "I don't know." The answer came without hesitation. Jasmine looked toward her brother, who was standing nearby. He couldn't even meet her gaze. That hurt more than anything. She wanted him to stop this, to say she could stay, to remember that she was his sister. But once again, he remained silent. The silence said everything. Jasmine slowly nodded. There was no point arguing. When a person has already decided to abandon you, begging only destroys your dignity. Within an hour, she packed her few belongings. The same 2 dresses, the Quran, Joan's photograph. Nothing more. As she reached the front door, she turned around one last time. Her brother stood near the hallway. His eyes were filled with guilt. But guilt was not enough. She needed support. She needed protection. She needed family. And he had failed to give her any of it. Without saying a word, she walked away. The door closed behind her. Another door. Another rejection. Another piece of her heart breaking. Outside, the streets were quiet. The sun was beginning to set. Jasmine walked aimlessly through the neighborhood. She had no destination, no plan, no hope. Hours seemed to pass. Eventually, exhaustion forced her to stop near a familiar house. It belonged to a woman named Shamina. They were not close friends, but they knew each other. Perhaps she would help. Perhaps God had left at least one kind soul in the world. With trembling hands, Jasmine knocked on the door. After a few moments, it opened. But instead of Shamina, a man stood there. Her husband. He looked surprised to see her. "Is Shamina home?" Jasmine asked nervously. "No," he replied. "She's visiting relatives. She'll return tomorrow." Disappointment filled her chest. She turned to leave. But the man spoke again. "You look exhausted." Jasmine hesitated. Then she explained everything. The death of Joan. Being thrown out by her in-laws. Being rejected by her brother's family. Her voice trembled as she spoke. The man listened carefully. Then he slowly opened the door wider. "You can stay here for the night," he said. "Leave in the morning." For a moment, relief washed over her. Perhaps God had finally answered her prayers. Perhaps this stranger was genuinely helping her. She stepped inside. The house was unusually quiet. Too quiet. And as the door closed behind her, a strange feeling settled in her heart. A feeling she could not explain. The man locked the door. then slowly turned around. And when Jasmine saw the expression on his face, every instinct inside her screamed that she had made a terrible mistake. What began as a simple offer of shelter was about to become the most frightening night of Jasmine's life. Trapped inside a stranger's house with no one to protect her, she would soon discover that not every helping hand comes with good intentions. And before the night was over, she would be forced to run for her life. The moment the door clicked shut behind her, Jasmine felt a chill run through her body. Something wasn't right. The man stood silently for a few seconds, staring at her in a way that made her uncomfortable. Jasmine tightened her grip on the small bundle she carried. "Thank you for letting me stay until morning," as she said politely. The man smiled. But there was something unsettling about that smile. "You've been through a lot," he replied. Jasmine nodded and sat on the edge of a chair near the living room. She kept her eyes lowered. Her heart was still heavy from everything that had happened during the past few days. The loss of Joan, the cruelty of her in-laws, her brother's silence, being forced out of yet another home. She felt exhausted. The man brought a glass of water and placed it in front of her. "Drink." "Thank you." She took a small sip. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. The silence felt strange, uncomfortable, dangerous. Then the man slowly moved from his chair and sat closer to her. Too close. Jasmine immediately became alert. She shifted slightly away. The man noticed. His smile widened. "You don't need to be afraid." Jasmine forced a nervous smile. "I should probably wait outside until your wife returns." The man shook his head. "Why?" His voice sounded different now. Colder. Heavier. "Because..." Jasmine hesitated. "I don't want anyone to misunderstand." The man laughed softly. "Misunderstand what?" A wave of fear rushed through her. She stood up immediately. "I think it's better if I leave." Before she could move toward the door, the man stepped in front of her. Her heart began pounding violently. The room suddenly felt smaller. The air felt harder to breathe. "You said you needed help," he said quietly. "I offered help." Jasmine stepped back. "Please move." The man's eyes darkened. "Do you know how beautiful you are?" The words felt like poison. Fear flooded every corner of her body. She understood everything now. The offer, the kindness, the shelter. None of it had been genuine. He had seen a lonely widow with nowhere to go. And he believed she was easy prey. Jasmine's hands trembled. "Please," as she whispered. "I only want to leave." The man moved closer. "Why leave?" His voice carried a hidden threat. "You need a place to stay." Jasmine felt trapped. Her mind raced desperately. She needed to escape. Now, before anything worse happened. Without warning, she pushed a chair between them and rushed toward the door. The man lunged forward. For a terrifying second, she thought he would catch her. But by God's mercy, her hand reached the lock first. She twisted it open. The door swung wide. And Jasmine ran. She ran faster than she had ever run in her life. She didn't look back. She didn't stop. The cold evening air burned her lungs. Her feet ached. Her legs felt weak. But fear gave her strength. Street after street passed behind her. The city lights blurred before her eyes. Tears streamed down her face. Not because of what had almost happened, but because she finally realized how alone she truly was. No husband. No home. No family. No protection. Nothing. Only God. For nearly an hour she wandered through the dark streets. Eventually, her feet carried her somewhere she had not planned to go. A place her heart remembered even when her mind did not. The cemetery. The resting place of Joan. The moment she saw the gate, her emotions overwhelmed her. She entered slowly. The night was quiet. The wind whispered through the trees. Rows of graves stretched into the darkness. And there, beneath the pale moonlight, was Joan's grave. The final reminder of the man who had once protected her from every hardship. The moment she reached it, all the strength left her body. She fell to her knees. Her fingers touched the fresh soil. And she broke down completely. "Joan." Her voice cracked. "Why did you leave me?" Tears soaked the earth. She pressed her forehead against the grave. "Everything is gone." Her shoulders shook with uncontrollable sobs. "They threw me away like I never mattered." The cemetery remained silent. Woman felt trapped. Her mind raced desperately. She needed to escape. Now, before anything worse happened. Without warning, she pushed a chair between them and rushed toward the door. The man lunged forward. For a terrifying second, she thought he would catch her. But by God's mercy, her hand reached the lock first. She twisted it open. The door swung wide. And Jasmine ran. She ran faster than she had ever run in her life. She didn't look back. She didn't stop. The cold evening air burned her lungs. Her feet ached. Her legs felt weak. But fear gave her strength. Street after street passed behind her. The city lights blurred before her eyes. Tears streamed down her face. Not because of what had almost happened, but because she finally realized how alone she truly was. No husband. No home. No family. No protection. Nothing. Only God. For nearly an hour she wandered through the dark streets. Eventually, her feet carried her somewhere she had not planned to go. A place her heart remembered even when her mind did not. The cemetery. The resting place of Joan. The moment she saw the gate, her emotions overwhelmed her. She entered slowly. The night was quiet. The wind whispered through the trees. Rows of graves stretched into the darkness. And there, beneath the pale moonlight, was Joan's grave. The final reminder of the man who had once protected her from every hardship. The moment she reached it, all the strength left her body. She fell to her knees. Her fingers touched the fresh soil. And she broke down completely. "Joan." Her voice cracked. "Why did you leave me?" Tears soaked the earth. She pressed her forehead against the grave. "Everything is gone." Her shoulders shook with uncontrollable sobs. "They threw me away like I never mattered." The cemetery remained silent. Only the wind answered her cries. "My own brother couldn't protect me." Her voice trembled. "I trusted him." Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. "I don't know where to go anymore." For a long time, she sat there, speaking to the man she loved, pouring every pain into the night. The grief she had buried inside herself finally exploded. Days of heartbreak. Days of rejection. Days of loneliness. Everything came out at once. Eventually, her body could take no more. She had barely eaten, barely slept, barely rested. Exhaustion consumed her. The world around her began to spin. Her vision blurred. The moonlight faded. Darkness crept into the edges. Then everything went black. How much time passed, she did not know. Minutes. Hours. Maybe longer. Somewhere in the distance, she became aware of sounds. Footsteps. Voices. Faint and unclear. She tried to open her eyes. They felt too heavy. Her body refused to move. Yet she could sense something. Someone. Nearby. A calm voice echoed through the darkness. She's still breathing. Another voice replied. Thank God we found her in time. Jasmine wanted to speak. Wanted to ask who they were. But she couldn't. The darkness pulled her deeper. And before she lost consciousness completely, she felt something strange. A warm hand gently covering her with a blanket. A voice speaking softly near her ear. A voice unlike any she had heard before. Don't be afraid, Jasmine. We won't leave you alone. When Jasmine finally opened her eyes, she would find herself in a place she had never seen before, surrounded by complete strangers. But the biggest shock was yet to come. Because one of those strangers was about to reveal a secret that would change the course of her life forever, and introduce her to a man who would become far more important than she could ever imagine. A faint ray of sunlight slipped through a small wooden window and fell across Jasmine's face. Slowly, she opened her eyes. For a few moments, she couldn't understand where she was. The ceiling above her was made of old wooden beams. A small lantern hung from one corner of the room. The air smelled of fresh tea and burning firewood. Confused, she tried to sit up. A sharp weakness ran through her body. Easy. A calm voice spoke nearby. Jasmine turned her head. An elderly woman was sitting beside her bed. She wore simple clothes and had kind eyes filled with warmth. Where am I? Jasmine asked weakly. The woman smiled. You're safe. Those two words immediately brought tears to Jasmine's eyes. Safe. It had been a long time since she had felt safe. The woman handed her a glass of water. Drink slowly. After taking a few sips, Jasmine looked around again. Who brought me here? Before the woman could answer, footsteps approached from outside. A tall man entered the room. The moment Jasmine saw him, she became nervous. He appeared to be in his early 30s. His posture was confident. His expression calm. Unlike the men she had encountered recently, there was no greed in his eyes. Only concern. The elderly woman smiled. There he is. The man nodded politely. How are you feeling? Jasmine hesitated. Better. The man pulled a chair closer and sat down. My name is Captain Joan. Jasmine looked surprised. Captain? He smiled slightly. I serve in the military. Suddenly everything began to make sense. The confidence. The discipline. The calm demeanor. Joan continued. My team and I were passing near the cemetery last night when we noticed someone lying beside a grave. Jasmine lowered her eyes. Embarrassment washed over her. You found me there? We did. His voice remained gentle. You were unconscious. the elderly woman added softly. If they hadn't arrived when they did, nobody knows what might have happened. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. Again. Someone she didn't know had shown her more kindness than her own family. For several moments, silence filled the room. Finally, Joan spoke. "My mother told me a little about your situation." Jasmine looked at him in surprise. "His mother?" The elderly woman smiled. "Yes. I'm his mother." Jasmine immediately sat up straighter. The older woman waved her hand dismissively. "Relax, child." Something about her kindness reminded Jasmine of the mother she had lost years ago. For the first time in weeks, she felt a tiny sense of peace. Over the next few days, she remained in their home. The small house wasn't luxurious, but it was filled with something far more valuable. Respect. Nobody questioned her. Nobody judged her. Nobody treated her like a burden. Joan's mother gave her a comfortable room. She prepared meals for her. She even encouraged her to rest. "Your heart needs healing," as she would often say. "Not just your body." Jasmine found herself slowly recovering. The nightmares became less frequent. The constant fear inside her chest began to fade. And every evening, when Captain Joan returned from work, he would politely ask the same question. "Are you feeling better today?" Nothing more. Nothing less. Never crossing any boundaries. Never making her uncomfortable. His respect slowly earned her trust. One evening, while sitting in the courtyard, Jasmine finally gathered the courage to ask him a question. "Why did you help me?" Joan looked thoughtful. Then he smiled. "My father taught me something when I was young." "What?" "If God places a helpless person in your path, it's because he wants to test your humanity." The answer touched her deeply. For a moment, she remembered the people who had abandoned her. Then she looked at the man sitting across from her. The difference was impossible to ignore. Days turned into weeks. Jasmine completed her waiting period in peace. Throughout that time, neither Joan nor his mother pressured her about anything. They simply gave her dignity. Something she had almost forgotten existed. Then one afternoon, Joan's mother entered her room carrying 2 cups of tea. She sat beside Jasmine and gently held her hand. "My daughter," as she said softly. Jasmine looked up. There was something serious in the older woman's voice. "I want to ask you something." "Of course." The woman hesitated for a moment. Then she smiled. "Would you consider marrying my son?" Jasmine froze. The cup nearly slipped from her hands. For several seconds, she couldn't speak. Marriage? Again? After everything she had been through? Seeing her reaction, the older woman quickly continued. "Don't feel pressured. If your answer is no, nothing will change. You can stay here as long as you wish." Tears filled Jasmine's eyes. Nobody had ever given her such freedom of choice before. The older woman squeezed her hand gently. "My son respects you. And I can see that you respect him." Jasmine lowered her gaze. The truth was she had noticed it too. Joan had never treated her as a helpless widow. Never looked at her with pity. Never made her feel small. He treated her like a human being. Like an equal. That respect had slowly built a bridge between their hearts. Later that evening, Joan spoke to her privately in the courtyard. His voice was calm. "My mother told me she spoke with you." Jasmine nodded nervously. Joan looked directly at her. "If you don't want this, I will never mention it again." His sincerity surprised her. Most people demanded. He simply offered. "And if I say yes?" she asked quietly. A gentle smile appeared on his face. "Then I will spend the rest of my life making sure you never feel abandoned again." The words hit her heart with unexpected force. For a moment, she remembered standing in the rain with nowhere to go. Being rejected by family. Being humiliated. Being alone. Then she looked at the man before her. The man who had rescued her without expecting anything in return. The man who had protected her dignity. The man who had shown her kindness when the world had shown cruelty. Tears slipped down her cheeks. And for the first time since losing her husband, those tears weren't caused by pain. They were caused by hope. A hope she thought had died forever. Just when Jasmine believed life was finally giving her a second chance, fate prepared one final test. On the day she would step into her new life with Joan, an unexpected encounter from her past would leave her speechless and reveal how dramatically destiny can change the lives of those who hurt others. A few months later, Jasmine's life looked completely different. The pain that had once consumed her was slowly becoming a memory. After her marriage to Captain Joan, she finally experienced something she had not felt for a very long time: peace. Their home was not built on luxury. It was built on respect. Every morning began with gratitude, and every evening ended with calm conversations. Joan treated her with kindness, and his mother loved her like a daughter. For the first time since losing her first husband, Jasmine felt safe again. She no longer woke up afraid. She no longer wondered where she belonged. Because now she had a family that had chosen her, not abandoned her. As the months passed, Jasmine also began rebuilding her confidence. She started a small tailoring business from home. Women from the neighborhood brought clothes for stitching and alterations. Slowly, her work became popular. People admired her skills. But more importantly, they admired her character. The woman who had once been thrown out of homes now had women seeking her advice and friendship. Life was healing her wounds one day at a time. Then one afternoon, Joan received an invitation from an old friend. There was going to be a family gathering and celebration. "You should come with me," Joan said with a smile. Jasmine hesitated. She rarely attended social events anymore. But after some encouragement from Joan and his mother, she agreed. The evening of the gathering arrived. The hall was filled with laughter, conversations, and bright lights. Families sat together. Children ran around happily. For a moment, Jasmine simply stood there, taking in the warmth of the atmosphere. Then something caught her attention. Near the back of the hall, a woman was cleaning the floor. Her clothes were old. Her face looked tired. Her posture seemed defeated. At first, Jasmine barely recognized her. Then the woman looked up. Their eyes met, and both froze. It was her former sister-in-law. The same woman who had forced her out of her brother's house. The same woman who had treated her like a burden. The same woman who had closed her door when Jasmine had nowhere else to go. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then the woman slowly walked toward her. Tears filled her eyes. "Jasmine." Her voice trembled. Jasmine remained silent. The woman lowered her head. "I don't know if I deserve your forgiveness." The words surprised everyone nearby. The woman continued speaking. "We were cruel to you." Her voice broke. "I was cruel to you." Jasmine could see genuine regret in her eyes. Not pride. Not excuses. Only regret. The woman wiped away tears. After you left, everything in our lives began falling apart. Jasmine listened quietly. Your brother lost his job. The woman looked down. Later, he became involved in financial fraud at his company. Jasmine's heart tightened. He was arrested. The woman began crying openly. We lost our house. We lost our savings. Our son left us. I have been working wherever I can just to survive. Jasmine felt a mixture of emotions. Sadness, shock, pity, and something else. Understanding. Because she knew what it felt like to lose everything. The woman suddenly grabbed her hands. Please forgive me. People nearby turned to watch. But Jasmine wasn't thinking about them. She was remembering something else. The rain. The loneliness. The closed door. The feeling of being unwanted. For a moment, old pain returned. She could have walked away. She could have reminded the woman of everything she had done. She could have made her feel the same humiliation. But then she remembered something Joan once told her. When you carry hatred, you continue carrying the people who hurt you. Jasmine took a deep breath. Then she gently lifted the woman's head. Look at me. The woman obeyed. Tears streamed down her face. Jasmine spoke softly. I forgave you a long time ago. The woman stared at her in disbelief. You did? Jasmine nodded. Because holding on to anger was hurting me more than it was hurting you. The woman began crying even harder. I'm sorry. I know. For the first time in years, the burden